अवंती आपण कधी भेटलोय का मला नाही आठवत. So you can start now. Avanti, let's start.
Yes, sir.
We have some issue, Rohit, of internet. I don't know. Am I audible?
But yes.
Yes, sir, you are clearly
You're
audible.
audible. If possible, little bit volume is required, sir. Can you increase some volume?
The volume is at maximum only. I am.
Okay.
I don't
No
know.
problem, sir. No problem.
Some issue with the. So still, I told the team member, somebody, can I increase? This is exactly the problem. Running using a computer, okay, not otherwise, no other technical thing. कोणाला कोणी आहे का चांगलं आवाज वाढवायचे मला. Let's hope somebody
Okay,
else.
sir. It is now comfortable. It's comfortable.
Yes, but then I get a message that internet is stable, and that time you find a. I observed that time you find the problem of sound.
So if your voice is not clearly audible, I'll let you know. Is that okay?
Yeah, that is okay, but still.
Okay.
आवाज बढ़ा सकता है क्या है? Full है ना? It is full only. ये भी full है. वो भी full है. Okay. I think so. This is what maximum probably they can.
It is okay, sir. Comfortable.
Thanks, sir. Can we start, sir?
Let's start, Avanti.
Yes, sir. Good evening to one and all. I welcome each one of you to the virtual CPE meeting on major issues in tax audit and filing, organized by the Pune branch of ICAI, Pune branch of WIRC of ICAI in virtual mode. Our speakers today are CA Sharad Shah, sir, who is a senior partner at Sharad Shah and Company Chartered Accountants. It is an ISO 9001-2000 accredited firm. By qualification, sir is a BCom, FCA and DSA from ICAI, and he has also completed some certificate courses of ICAI on IFRS valuation and arbitration. He is a chairman, International Fiscal Association Pune, Pune ITAT Bar Association. He has 7 years of rich experience at working at Bajaj Auto Limited, Pune. And after that, he is into full-time practice. He's been auditor and tax consultant for various educational institutes as well, and a regular faculty on direct taxation at Symbiosis Institute of International Business. Also, he has addressed various seminars on professional matters like income tax, VAT, etc. at WIRC, Mumbai, Pune, Jamnagar, and other CPE study circles. He is also a contributor to ICAI publication on faceless appeal. Our second speaker for the day is CA Rohit Tapadiya, who is a senior manager, direct tax advisory service at Sharad Shah and Company Chartered Accountants. He is BCom, FCA, and he has 10 years of experience working with Sharad Shah and Company, handling all direct tax related matters such as advisory services, tax audit assessments, etc., handling taxation at various educational institutions, specialized knowledge in litigation, and he has also addressed various seminars on professional matters like income tax at Solapur branch of ICAT on changes in income tax returns. I also welcome CA Sameer Ladha, the Chairman and Treasurer of Pune branch of ICAI. During the webinar, if you have any questions, you can post them into the question and answers, that is Q&A panel, and we will address it after the respective sessions. I now request Chairman Sir, CA Sameer Ladha, to give a welcome address to all. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Avanti. Respected Sharad Shah, sir. Today's speaker. Another speaker, CA Rohit Tapadiya. CA Avanti Gadgi, today's MOC, and all the August audience. Welcome to today's webinar on tax audits, especially on issues, important issues on tax audit and filings. This is one of the special webinar, I can say, where one of the senior partner in the firm, say Sharad Shah, and one of the youngest partners, say Rohit Tapadiya, jointly giving seminar. Both are young in different manner. I know Sharad Shah sir is always young by heart, and CA Rohit Tapadiya is youngest partner of that firm. As all of you know, tax audit is a very regular topic very essential topic on which every year we take the seminars, because it is very essential subject almost for all the practicing CA. And this year we are taking this topic second time. And when we are going to take subject, first name always the of Shah sir. Shah sir, thank you for giving your time on this topic today for Pune branch on behalf of all the participants today. I know you are very busy now on the tax audits, but your guidance is very essential for all the participants in the current tax audit season of this year. Before I hand over for further process to Avanti, I just want to inform all the audience that with your cooperation, with your participation, this year up to today, in last 300 days, Pune branch has performed almost 340 events. This is the one of the different record. In 300 days. We have taken 340 programs, and almost 1,25,000 CP hours we have generated all over together for Pune branch. This is happened due to your cooperation from your side only. I congratulate all of you for such a wonderful performance throughout the year. So with this, I will like to hand over Avanti for further process. I welcome all of you again. Wish you happy learning. Over to Avanti. You are mute. You are on mute.
Yeah, excuse me for that. I now request our first speaker for the day, CA Sharad Shah sir, to proceed with the technical session. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, friends. Thank you, Pune branch, for giving me this opportunity, probably once again on the same topic. Maybe that till I improve upon. Samir wants me to take topics so that every time I try to improve upon. Another part, we said senior partner and youngest partner Rohit. Why it has happened? Because when the topic was given, it was given problems faced by you while filing to Form 3CD, and I'm much illiterate, much junior to Rohit. I have probably never tried to fill up Form 3CD, and this is what I was afraid of. So I said, no, I can't take. If at all, that is Rohit who can tell how he goes for filing. So part of the responsibility which was there, I wanted to pass it on to Rohit. And that is why today I and Rohit both are taking the subject. But once he decided what should take, and then when we started preparing the slides, that time we realized this 2 hours period will be too less. And probably, yes, it is likely to be less, much less. So what I have tried to cut down certain, I'll try to run fast. I'll go for jumping over some slides. But in the meantime, if you find anything relevant to that subject and you have any specific query, we'll try to keep a query session much more, so that to your query probably I can answer, which I might not have taken in the presentation on the legal part. I'm restricting myself to the legal issues as far as Form 3CD is concerned. I'll share my presentation now, and let us start with that. Maybe I will be really quick, because within 1 hour, this is roughly about 100 slides. So within 1 hour we can't take, but something which I know most of the people know it, so I'll jump over it. So basically we know 3CA, 3CB and 3CD. 3CD is the real detail part. 3CA is that when the statutory audit is already conducted, our responsibility at that time is very limited. Reference to the audit report, maybe yourself who audited the statutory part of that. 3CB is there, where your responsibility is much higher, where we have to, because that is the audit for the first time, and where you are going to tell for the first time about the true and fairness of the financials. So you have to worry about 3CB that way. Generally, we find, and we all know, that auditor's view and the consultant view there are many differences which can arise. As auditor, we have to be conservative. We have to worry about nobody should say that something I have not disclosed. While as consultant, I would not like my client to face larger tax than what is really liable. I'm not talking about manipulating. What I'm talking about is there are issues of interpretation. Many times the plain interpretation and the argument, for example, 14A, we have definitely, whether rule 8D is applicable all the time, probably not. We have arguments, we have judgments, and everything is in our favor. So we have issue where the opinion of as consultant is different. But mind well, you are basically signing Form 3CD. So you cannot forget writing down that information. What would have been the most conservative opinion and most beneficial opinion? That is the point where you probably, because I have been told by Rohit that you cannot add in certain part of 3CD any of the comment. So where do I give the comment? Where I say, for example, in 14A, I basically agree that the expenses incurred by him is much lower than what 8D talks about. Then I have various judgments where certain investments are not liable for 14A disallowance, because if I have not received the dividend or maybe for any other reason, in that case, what do I do? So yes, I may have to write down in my somewhere I'll have to put the remark that this will be the disallowance probably under 8D, but we have accepted the SS's contention, that is expenditure for exempt income is only so much which should be disallowed. So now in the Form 3CD, I'll put the amount which the SSC feels, and somewhere in the remark, and somewhere is what 3CA and 3CB both. These are the places where I have to put the remark to save, because most of the time, ethically we agree we should not be consultant and we should not be auditor simultaneously. But that really in the smaller area of our practice, that doesn't happen. It may be true for Big Four or big firms. Okay, that auditor, the tax auditor is separate and the consultant is different. Here many times, and most of the time, my audience here is performing both the roles simultaneously. There is also a problem. Some of the Form 3CD item wants you to tell what SSC is doing while computing the income. So issue is there, whether, when do I say, because in the return, he files only after I give Form 3CD, because that is also to be filled in the return. And then again in the, what he is going to do in the return, the Form 3CD asks, what is done? What is done? The simplest example is those concessional rate of tax. They want to tell us whether the concessional rate of tax has been adopted by the SSC or not. After I give return, he's going to file, and if he changes his option, what happens? But we have to take care. For example, in such case, we take that he has filed the appropriate form with income tax, and on the basis of that income tax form, we say that yes, he has accepted, he has gone for the option under particular section, 22% or 25%. So what is first, return or tax audit? My answer is really both of them are simultaneous. We may have to take care of both the situation, because even the scheme of Form 3CD talks about you answer even before filing the return what is going to do in the return of income. So you have to take care of it. In 3CB, when we talk about, I said in the beginning, 3CB, you have to again talk about, additionally talk about true and fair. 3CA, you are relying on the other audit reports, maybe yourself. But in this case, you have to really go for true and fair. And all matters like what we have learned in the case of other audit reports, the qualification or other matters, emphasis of matters, qualified opinion, disclaimer, management responsibility and auditor's responsibility, all this have to come appropriately in Form 3CB. Don't forget to put all that. If you are not happy with the financials, or if you have any remark, or if you have any qualification, make sure that you put in 3CB properly at proper place. There are two places. One place you can put the remark relating to accounts and the responsibility of both SSC as well as the auditor, and another place is any remark about the information provided in Form 3CD. These places have to be used by you. And the question, of course, is there. Can I say the last disclaimer? Normally, it doesn't happen. We are only talking in an exceptional, very exceptional case, if there is a disclaimer about the true and fair. If it is so, really, don't hesitate. I know most of the time that will not happen. I know this is an exceptional case, but don't forget if there is a disclaimer about the accounts, and this happens when the biggest thing which we have seen in practice, the small company, there are two partners or two shareholders, and there is a dispute, and then there is an issue. Well, the accounts either have been approved only by a majority, while the another non-majority partner, the minority partner or minority shareholder has taken objection to that. At that particular time, do take care. And now we find in our life, public life, and in our audit professional life, many such disputes. If they are existing, do not forget to take that into account and put in your appropriately in 3CB. This is the place where, which I know all of you know where to put the remark, the comment on for remark on financials in para 3A of 3CB, para 3 in 3 other remark on 3CD information, that is in para 5 in form 3CB and para 3 in form 3CA. Don't forget to put, again I have repeated, basically our guideline very clearly says, institutional guideline which was there on which is there on the tax audit as back as in 14, that edition, the revised edition is still awaited. In that they have already put what kind of management responsibility, auditor responsibility paragraphs should be included. Make sure that you include. They are in that guideline at page 56 or 57. That is specifically for tax audit. And then we have recently got the guidance note on reports or certificate for special purposes. I may remind that every certificate requires this responsibility statement in a different wording, not a large, that big wording which is there in case of tax audit, but make sure that all that responsibility statement, use of certificate wherever applicable, we are not talking about tax audit, their use of certificate we don't have to mention, but any other certificate, make sure that you put those appropriate remark in the certificate. The issue is there whether I can revise the audit report. Once I have given the audit report, can I revise the audit report? SA 560 definitely supports that you can revise. Of course, it gives the option to you, but it is still to be revised, and there can be compelling reason for revision. Some compelling reason because of the error, or some compelling reason because of a particular legal situation. And I'll put that basically, one part is of course there, if there is an error which you notice at any time, it is not only the requirement, but it is also your duty to correct it. Because once you know the mistake is there, you must revise. Now, how to put a revised audit report, whether you will be able to put, the Rohit will tell you separately, because there are many issues on online submission. But in such case, I would always suggest that make a copy. They may not accept at the department physically. Send it by registered post, and at least keep yourself safe that you have corrected the mistake which was required to be corrected. But don't forget to correct if the error is found afterward, after you sign the report. There is another compelling reason when I have to really go for revising the report of 3CD. That compelling reason is to also help out our client. And this happens in case of merger and demerger. We are all knowing that merger and demerger, the order takes months and months and probably years to be passed by NCLT, and we have to give the effect on the of those order much later by way of filing a revised return. Earlier the issue was there also whether a revised return can be filed. But coming back to the merger demerger, what is required? If you merge, then naturally that merger say is effective. As of today, we talk about a date. As of today, you come to know that the merger order has been passed with effect from 1/4/19. And this happens practically, actually. So 1419, you might have already filed the return of standalone balance sheet of each company. Now both these have to be given, that they're gone together. Many issues differ, many things to be worked out separately, which again you have to club, make a revised statement of financial statement, could be on whatever is the appropriate accounting standard, could be on the purchase method, could be on the purchase method, or could be it on the pulling of interest. All these things in that case requires a revision of return. There was an issue that revision of return will not be, they were not accepting, but Supreme Court has very clearly said in the Alamia Power that department must accept the revised return on the basis of NCLT order, and take into account the revised and the old. It is also possible that your assessment might have been completed, at least the 143(1)A might have been completed. There also you have to convey to the department that you are changing. But my problem here as auditor, now I have to see that both the things come together in the return. Again, when I file the revised return, one of the requirements is that whether relevant tax audit report is filed along with that. So naturally, now the balance sheet is coming for the two companies together. I have the new 3CD I'll have to prepare. It will be also in the interest of my client, and I'll have to revise the form 3CD with appropriate particular, even 3CA, 3CB. 3CA also can happen, and 3CB also can happen, because one of the company in the merger might have been audited by or not audited. That's all possible. So this all will have to take into account. This is a compelling situation where you have to revise, and you can and you must revise that for the sake of your client, and that is a necessity. Issue will be whether form 3CA or 3CB. Why I told that what happens is that the merged account, even in the demerger, let us say we are separating out. These accounts are not required to be audited under any statute, but they are really prepared at the behest of management. So whether those accounts can be considered to having been audited under any statutory provision, there can be an interpretation, no. So therefore, you'll have to probably give true and fair view on true and fairness also, where of course you can rely upon and say in your audit papers that you have relied upon the audited statement of standalone balance sheet. But having said that, my report under income tax will have to be in form 3CB and not 3CA, and that we will have to take into account. There will be many issues when we prepare form 3CD, liability of opening liability of 43B, etc. Everything will definitely will have to get reflected in merger, demerger issues. Revision due to compliances post-tax audit report, and client come and request. What happened? I mean, normally most of the people, it is good that they delay the 3CD, but that is not good for us, putting our our life in miserable situation. So by chance, say I have completed the audit, even the tax audit, in the month of August, or maybe in the month of September, and I'm filing the return somewhere in the month of November. In the meantime, there are certain items like bonus, like tax compliances, TDS non-compliance, which you are not to see, he complies. In such case, they are liable having regard to the provisions which are there in the Income Tax Act, provided those corrections, those payments are made before due date of filing the return. Now, in that case, what will happen is that the amount of disallowance which you have put in Form 3CD will not be really disallowable, and the client will be at loss. Whether client should argue the case, that is the decision of yours. But if client wants your help, you may revise the return, revise the tax audit report, give him the benefit of all those taxes, because what we have seen in practice, the CPC takes into account the disallowances purely on the basis of Form 3CD, and sometimes huge demands arise. The biggest item could be the bonus payment. Normally in the month of October, September, October, people make the payment of bonus, which you might have seen the audit was completed in September. You might say that it is not paid under 43B. So this we need to be correctly talked talked about. I know now amendment 110/2020 is now not a new issue, really it's an old issue, but I'll just remind you all those specific things which you have to take into account while preparing Form 3CD. This is one is the question which is there, whether you are opted for 115BA, BAA, BAB, you will have to give answer and take the document in appropriate document with you in hand. Then there are changes, because if you adopt those concessional rate, you have to make adjustment in the unabsorbed depreciation. Some part will be disclaimed. Adjusted return down value of block you have to change. All losses, allowances which are not allowable under 115A, you will have to also mention in clause 32A. Why it may not, it is, these particular things are applicable every year it can be, because I could have opted for 115 BAA even from the 3rd year, 4th year or 5th year after the introduction of new provisions. So it is possible that this year for the first time your client comes with the option being opted by him in first time in this year. You have to take care in all this point into the account while preparing Form 3CD. Another thing is that 61, 61A and 61B clause 42, you'll have to worry about, because in that case also the large worry is in case of one of the requirement, whether the form contains information about all details transactions which are required to be reported. It's not only that what he has filed Form 61, 61A, it is also asking us in Form 3CD whether those details, so that means are they correct or not in totality, you have to answer, and this puts you a very large responsibility. So it is always good for you to know what are the transactions which are required to be reported under this in this form, and take care of getting appropriate details and audit evidences so that you can answer this question. The other question is whether filed or not. They are simple. You just get a copy or an acknowledgement of what he has filed, online acknowledgement, whatever is there. But this particular question, which is there in the clause 42, you have to worry much more whether the form contains information about all details, transactions which are required to be reported. And do take care of, I have given the list, I believe in this, but that these are the list of the transactions which are required to be, and that is being modified year on year. They also talked about adding certain transactions in future. So you have to make your knowledge up to date. What are the transactions which are required to be reported? For that, the rule is 114E, and be aware of latest version of 114E. Put your knowledge on test and put your audit evidences also in appropriate manner to answer this question, because they may say that this non-reporting, and now the trend is increasing. Various government agencies have started filing filing the negligence complaint before institute. And not only institute, now we know there is one more agency, one more forum which will be also working on whether our reporting etc are correct or not. So do take care of. Whenever I listen to the Mr. Vaz's presentation on that day, I really get worried at this time also, though we are taking abundant caution, but still we find the kind of complaint people make and the kind of disciplinary proceeding people have to face. Make sure that you do not go into that. Take appropriate record. First is you update your knowledge on Rule 114E, and then make sure that you put all necessary details correctly. I'll not read out the transaction because you know that we have to run 100 slides, probably that is not possible, but this is there in my slide, which I'll be sharing with the institute and branch, and you can take the papers from there. ICDS, another caution which we have to take. See, before I go to this, let me put it this way. Form 3CD is for what? Primarily business income. So whether certain expenses are allowable or not, that information primarily comes from that. So any issue or interpretation which relates to business income probably could be a subject matter of Form 3CD, and you have to really take care that you appropriately report. At the same time, you appropriately give the stand which is being taken by the SSC for whom you are making the audit. This is in our interest. Technically, ethically, you are not bound to take care of his interest, but as you know, and we accept that fact that they are all our client, they need not pay something which is not payable. At the same time, I cannot forget my duty as auditor of Form 3CD. Now, this is in ICDS reporting. Also, the issues are there. I'll try to put a bit quickly on that. What all things are there which are very important. This slide I will say. Cash base is not possible for companies I have written, but we have got one judgment which says that even if the company for financial representation they follow the accrual base of accounting, they are entitled to follow if they are following consistently a cash basis of accounting for filing the return. That judgment I'm not sure if that is there. Otherwise, I can, if you ask me, I'll say, but this is the only standalone judgment which gave the permission to follow cash basis of accounting by a company which otherwise presents its account on accrual basis. That is a necessity of Companies Act. Okay. Adoption required by statute. Change in method of accounting is allowed, but consistency, and it should be for the better purpose. I mean, it will probably give a better presentation of account. These are the, I mean, these clauses, we have two different information which are required to be given for ICDS. One is the amount which is basically which will affect the taxable income, plus and minus separately to be given, and also except for ICDS 6 and ICDS 8, we have to also give the disclosure as per the ICDS as part of the notes in Form 3CD. Simply writing down plus and minus will not suffice. You have to also write down those disclosures which have been specified in ICDS, and there are many such disclosures which are there. One of the things which I talk about ICDS, the ICDS relating to construction contract, plus and minus both will take. It is for construction contract directly not applicable to real estate client who is basically in the real estate development and selling. This is only for the client who are really constructing on behalf of somebody. At the same time, mind well, this particular definition of construction contract is wide enough to cover all the type of erection and construction, not only the civil construction. Normally we try to interpret if he's making a building or a bridge, then it is covered. No, there can be a machine installation, machine erection, a plant erection. If that takes time and it is to be constructed at the site of a client, that will definitely fall under this ICDS, and you have to talk about appropriate adjustment under ICDS in that regard. As far as inventory is concerned, just we all know LIFO is not permitted. Standard costing or retail costing is permitted only if result approximate actual cost, and this you have to again certify that okay, you accepted standard costing or retail costing, but according to you it approximates the actual cost. How to work out the evidences in this respect, that is definitely a skill which needs to be opted by you. I am talking about retail costing. More standard costing probably is basically generally used by the people, which is with the computer support. But a retail costing is which, for example, if you look at a hardware shop where the parts are many, and then you use the retail costing for the evaluation of that inventory, closing inventory. I have to certify that the result approximates actual cost. This is something which you have to really take into account and worry about while certifying the thing, because otherwise it can land you in trouble apart from the client. Another area, even ICDS, and there is a separate clause effect of 145A. Now both these basically a repetition. Here the figure is to only to be given and the remark to be given when it is under ICDS disclosure, and the next clause 145A you have to give even the difference detailing. Our institute says, and they have, if you see the guidance not specifically talked about, a table which gave all the details. What is the effect on opening stock? What is on the purchase? What is on the closing stock, sales, etc. And our institute basically opines that if you follow a pure exclusive method versus pure inclusive method, the effect on profit and loss is zero. But this also is subject to certain, some quarter of our charter accountants, they are saying that that's not correct, particularly in respect of the closing stock, because closing stock may include the excise duty or now GST, if that is to be taken into account, because if it has gone to the branch, all that what you take into account, then 43B comes into picture. If you're paid before due date of filing the return, then yes, the effect will be nullified. But if you're not paid the tax before filing the return, there can be an impact. And some of the some quarter of charter accountants do take into account that there is a difference. They do not agree with the institute guidance, not simply. But we have our institute says that it will not generally affect the end profit or loss of the SSC. Another thing is that many times people put only by way of a remark column that there is no difference under 145A. If you really want to take the advantage of institute guideline, then the table which is there in the guidance note, effect on opening stock, purchases, closing stock, the effect of provisioning, all that should be really disclosed as part of the audit report. Maybe an extra if the place is not available in the main form 3CD. In revenue recognition, now it is a very standard thing, but in what has basically happened is that ICDS talks about interest, etc. You have to recognize on time basis. Whether in those receipt, other than the main sale item, the effect of uncertainty of collection is not to be taken into account. Now this troubles us when we are talking about the interest on bad allowances, bad advances. It could be bank, or it could be, in case of bank, there is some provision, the act itself to give something, that still the dispute is there. In case of NPA, whether I can recognize interest. If you go by ICDS, that has to be, interest is first to be recognized. So what is basically according to me, the legal way is that you recognize the interest, and then down below you again ask for the bad debt, and there again the provision has been amended where the recognition is only as per ICDS. Then the bad debt need not be debited, bad debt should not be accounted in the books of account, and still the deduction will be liable. So the interest you account take in the top line, and then deduct bad debt, and then net revenue should be recognized. One small thing which generally people talk about is that revenue on interest on tax refunds, any tax refund, it could be GST, it could be income tax, is to be recognized on actual receipt. Some technical problem can come, which is there in this slide. Intimation is there on 29/3, but the refund is credited on 4th May. what is to be done, when to recognize. Very technically, it is to be recognized on 4th May, going by the ICDS. But if you want to avoid that difference between 26 AS and all that, and avoid unnecessary appeals, if you can convince your client, you better take into account on 29/3 for your computation of income. Another thing which you have to take care into, when the refunds are getting adjusted against the liability, many times you really don't know how much is the interest involved in that, and they are not accounted many times. 26A does talk about and gives the information. Do take care while doing that, and if the 26A is available, make sure that interest under ICDS is appropriately adjustment is disclosed in Form 3CD. Another ICDS is about fixed asset, where we are talking about mainly the issues of spare parts. There the ICDS talks about a different treatment than what normally we used to do in the account. Of course, now Ind AS is very near to what is now being talked about in ICDS. A specific spare parts is to be taken and which are consumed on regular, then inventory. A non-specific regular, that also in inventory. Specific irregular, we have to capitalize, while non-specific irregular is to be inventorized. What is the difference? Specific irregular, I'll add to the cost of plant and machinery. Though I have taken as a spare parts, essential spare parts is part of the life in factory. If I buy a machine, there is an essential spare parts. To give a larger example is that if I run an aircraft, there is always a spare engine part of the specific spare parts, and they are not regularly being consumed. It will be used only if the one of the engine goes bad. So they are irregular, but they are specific. The day I purchase, I can't put to repair. I must capitalize it to the fixed asset. ICDS asks you to do that. This example is a larger example, a very high value example, but this is the principle I wanted to explain. Improvement and repairs, if it adds to the normal life of the asset, then it will have to be capitalized. Others will go in repair. We have issue of 43A. 43A, there is no issue, but other than 43A, if the interest is being incurred or foreign exchange loan is being taken and there is a difference in foreign exchange, either by way of restatement of account or by way of actual payment, what treatment is to be given? As far as 43A, there is a absolute clarity. This is to be accounted to the capital asset on actual payment basis. When actual payment arises, whatever difference is there in the exchange rate, that you have to either capitalize or decapitalize from the asset. But other than 43A, there are judgments which talk about that there is no 43A cannot be applied, and it cannot be applied to other than imported machinery. Now, having said so, there are certain disputes. Sutlej Cotton says it should still go as a capital expenditure. Either you capitalize because of the Tata and Steel judgment, or you better put to don't claim at all as a capital expenditure, because Section 37 disallows capital expenditure. In 37 there are 3 conditions. It should not be personal expenditure, it should be exclusively for business, and it is not a capital expenditure. So there is a tendency in the department to consider those differences as capital expenditure. ICDS, what you are going to do or what your SSC opts for, you will have to appropriately put the remark in Form 3CA or 3CB and take care of it. This I have tried to explain. 43A calculation, what happens is that year on year, we, as for the financial, we provide the difference in the books. But in the 43A, that is disallowable unless it is actually paid. Now, what happens in the third year when I pay, the debt balance sheets are in this particular example, or all that number of years you had not repaid the loan, all those differences you have to take total together and make the year of actual payment. Here in this example, was 50, that was also disallowed. Actual payment here, there is a 20 rupees difference negative. That year is the actual payment. I have to adjust 130 and not only 20. And 130 on the plus side, there while 20 was on the negative side. I'll not that capitalization issue, working of average qualifying asset, I'm really jumping over. There are examples how to work out that. Then the comparison is there with AS 16. Only something which I talk about, the difference between our accounting and ICDS. Suspension of capitalization. Now this is very important probably for these couple of years, when certain assets which were being constructed and you had taken borrowed funds of that, and asset could not, construction could not be continued because of COVID year. There were restriction on construction, restriction on staff coming in. ICDS does not talk about suspending that portion of interest. That is, for example, 6 months I did not construct the building, but loan was already taken, and for that 6 months I have incurred an interest of rupees 10 lakh of rupees. In case of AS 16, that 10 lakh is not to be capitalized, has to be given effect in the profit and loss account, because the suspension was there, and that suspension period, I don't capitalize the interest. ICDS wants you to capitalize it. So this change you'll have to really take into account, and maybe relevant this year because of the COVID year and suspension of work. Okay. Another part of the cessation of capitalization, the difference is there between AS 16 and ICDS. In AS 16, ready to use, the moment it is ready, plant is ready, though you don't start using it, manufacturing it, or whatever purpose it has been constructed, still the interest will now stop to be capitalized. You don't have to capitalize. You have to take the post ready period interest to the P&L account. ICDS wants you to capitalize till you put to use, and there time difference between ready to use and put to use, there is going to be some change when you work out the difference in ICDS. 44AD presumptive tax, all of you people, that is a session by itself generally, but I just want to pinpoint that when that 5 years, if you adopt 44AD in 1 year, thereafter for the reason you want to go out because the profit is less, and you want to not to you are not able to go for that particular 44AD percentage, the moment you do that, next 5 years also you are not entitled to 44AD exemption. Even if you wish to go, your profit is fitting into 44AD requirement, you can't go. There can be argument. One is, if I have never adopted 44AD, though I was in the first year, my profit was more than that percentage of 44AD, but I did not opt in the return of income 44AD, then this provision may not be applicable in the 5 years. You can take a position till I have, at least for this provision to be effective, I should have opted for 44AD in the one of the year, very specifically in the return of income. I'll jump over this forum. We can come to, once the time is available, then we'll see that. This one point which we'll talk about, because now the Form 3CD also talks about 56. Really, it was meant for, originally it came as a support of business income computation, but over a period by adding 111 clauses, now finally even 56 is now part of the Form 3CD, whether I have received anything without consideration or at a price which is less than the normal consideration, And that is why this is important. So now the issue many times you face because of the rearrangement with the bank, that some loans are being, there is a concession being granted about the loan and the benefit you receive. Maybe that according to the method of accounting, you might credit to profit and loss account. But we have one judgment you keep in mind for giving the information is Mahindra and Mahindra 302 ITR 213, which really benefits the SSE that a waiver of loan will not be liable either under 28 or under 41(1). Okay, benefit. But while giving the benefit, do not forget to disclose in Form 3CD at appropriate place that a particular thing is credited or not credited to profit and loss account. After giving that, an appropriate remark you can give in Form 3CA or 3CB to give the benefit to your client. So this judgment is a very landmark judgment. You should read whenever the bank reconstruction takes place of the loan. What is time wise? Where are we on time, madam?
Sir, we have 6 to 7 minutes more.
Okay. I'll not take this particular chapter 43B, merger, demerger, the effect of that. Practically the effect is more about the in case of old company who is no more in existence, whether the liability which was outstanding, which might have been disallowed in their personal return, who should get the benefit. And there are various judgments which I have quoted in this part of the presentation. You can get some say that the person who is getting that in merger demerger, who finally pays, should get. Some people say it cannot, it should have been only by the person who incurred the liability. But most of the time the opinion has come in favor of whosoever pays finally will get the benefit. And that is very important when you talk about 43, the clause relating to 43B, statutory liability, etc., opening balance and payment during the year, all what you write down. This particular interpretation is very important, and this happens more with the merger demerger, which we face now, more number of cases. This is this is present area of practice. These are various case law, both the side. You can, I mean, it is in the slides, so one can take that and read. And if there is any question, they can write down to me. I can even answer on that. Clauses. This is about the gift, which really should not have been, because for 43, I mean 44AB was part of the business income group, but now it has been included, and GST also has been included. Luckily, that has been at least postponed for a year, one more year. Yes, one of the clauses is that demands and refunds of taxes, and this particular thing is not generally coming out of books of account, because many times it is outside the books, even client doesn't know, but we have to report. And because we have to report, we have to make client aware that you give us the detail. And this part is important, because one, say clause 41 asks you this detail and you have to certify the detail. Please furnish the, what is the clause? Please furnish the details of demand raised or refund issued during the previous year under any tax law, mind well, any tax law other than Income Tax Act 61 and Wealth Tax Act 57. Why they are other than? Because they are already going to be part of 26 AS. And now whatever that information system they talk about. And this you have to give, you have to furnish the detail. It is easy to find out where there is a physical inflow or outflow. But adjustment against another demand is a big issue, which we make many times, even client misses, and because of that, even we miss. One need to look at accounting treatment many times. The accounting treatment may result in getting the information hidden. For example, if it is a capital expenditure, I might, if there is a refund of tax on that capital expenditure, I might credit to that particular asset account. Okay, so all these things are directly not available from profit and loss account, but you have to really report and you have to take care. So you have to make a scrutiny, appropriate scrutiny of the accounts to find out this detail. This is also important for 43B, even 37. Why 37? If those demands include penalty, the penalty may not be allowable under section 37 proviso. Okay, so you have to also take care of that. You do take the prime evidence is also management represent letter, but you cannot always depend on the MRL. You have to study also, and you have to take appropriate step to at least find out with a reasonable accuracy. Data can be cross-checked from information like contingent liability, assessment status, professional charges, all that. 26 years will give something, but other than 26 years is only in respect of direct tax. All indirect tax, what document you take is really important. You have to take assessment of GST, and this is not only GST. Which are the other taxes? I have listed out. Originally, yes, sale tax, we started service tax, excise duty, GST. Now talk about professional tax, marketing cess, R&D cess, which is now practically stopped. R&D cess is also part of octroi duty before GST, stamp duty adjudication. If there is anything about the stamp duty, all that will go because duties and tax. So duty, primarily, I believe duty is part of the, I mean, it's other name or a synonymous to tax. But some people take the stand that duties and cess are not tax. Okay, that is after it is your choice to interpret, your privilege to interpret. I generally interpret that duty and tax are synonymous to taxes. Duties and cesses are synonymous to tax. I know as far as income tax is concerned, we have started claiming cess as not part of the income tax, disallowable under income tax, and we have started claiming the deduction because of certain judgment. But still, whether that says is that judgment you leave apart, that dispute you leave apart, for the purpose of 3CD, all this should come over here when you report under this clause, which requires you to report, furnish the details of demand raised or refund issued during the previous year under any tax laws other than income tax. What kind of record is all? I have suggested something. You may have a better suggestion, better than me to get your audit evidences properly. MNC, I'll leave because MNC probably is not. My audience can tell you want me to talk about what is in the MNC. There are three clauses: 30A, 30B, and 43B about CBCR report. I have discussed in the slide on whether that is required for this particular group of people. If you want me to, then I'll take. Otherwise, I'll now stop at this point, and I'll welcome your queries. Probably I'll try to answer, and if I can't answer, I'll say that you should accept that that I am also equally a student like you people. I'll stop at this point, madam.
Yes, sir. So we have a few questions in the Q&A tab. So
Yeah, I'll do that.
just read it out one by one. Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Satish.
1 minute, madam. 1 minute.
Yes, sir.
Let me come out with, okay. Let me open. Let us start with, or you are listed out of those 43 odd messages. You are listed out the queries. So part of the messages were all greetings.
So we have a separate question and answer tab. So I have roughly 9 questions.
9 questions. Okay.
Yes,
okay.
sir. So can I read one by one?
I'll read. Satish,
okay.
Can you please guide on the requirement prescribed in Rule 1, 2, 3, 4, Part 4 of Finance Act regarding books of account to be maintained, particularly for agriculture and income and expense? First question, dandi pad gayi meri. Agriculture, I mean, I basically believe the same, but I have no real technical answer to you, Satish. I'm sorry for it. Okay. Anonymous attendee, whether the details of Form 3CD are responsible for SSC or CA. Our institute guideline says that preparation of data is the responsibility of SSC, and after he prepares, verifying is our responsibility. And if you see that those specific remark which you are supposed to put in the audit report, the management responsibility or SS's responsibility, accountant responsibility or auditor's responsibility, we have tried to highlight who is responsible for what. Yes, normally we take the data of 3CD duly prepared by the SSE if they are reasonably medium class client and the large client. While small shops, practically they throw the books before you and you prepare. But really that is not the responsibility of chartered accountant. Our responsibility is to verify only. And that is again supported by one fact. Now 3CD I can upload. Only, even if I upload it, it has to be validated by my client. So the 3CD details, they are bringing the SSC also in the responsible person. And that is what another evidence by way of the process which is there in the filing of 3CD report. Our institute is very clear, primary it should be by the client. Whether refund of GST needs to be reported under clause 16 as it asks for refund of sale tax, excise duty, but not GST. It is basically when it has been replaced by GST, I would interpret that yes, it is to be covered. It will be too technical to say that when excise and sale tax have been covered, but the GST has not been specifically written in the statement, is excluded, because practically I would say all the taxes we have to talk about. I was going even much beyond that, even the duties and sales I wanted to cover. Okay, so that is a better part you cover, and probably in the coming year that once the clause relating to GST starts, otherwise also will be responsible to look at the GST return. This is my opinion. You can take a stand that GST is not written. We'll go only what is specifically written. Maybe that may not be a wrong view totally, but I am following the view that GST to be included. We definitely take into account GST while reporting 3CD. Whether interest on VAT refund to be reported in any other income of clause 16 or in the refund of sale tax. See, basically ICDS, if you are already taken in the profit and loss account, then it is already reflected in the profit. And if you are not taken, then ICDS wants you to recognize it in the year of actual refund. So somewhere primarily this is an additional information which you are providing to work out the income which is to be taxed by them. Yes, if you put in the particular column, this column, I probably maybe that idea will be better that you also mention in 3CA or 3CB that we have mentioned in so and so clause, which has already been included in the income under the head so and so that CPC doesn't doubly tax you. The problem is CPC goes very technically, whatever is written, they bring into under 143(1)(a) and then make the life miserable of client, or for us 154, or if not 154 probably, then we'll have to go for appeal to get that reduced. So also to take care of client, if you can disclose that this income is already included in profit and loss account, so probably CPC will not doubly tax the amount. Otherwise, they will presume generally not included income, and they may add. This is what we are finding in the various clauses. The effect sometimes is unbelievably wrong effect they are taking into account when we receive 143(1)(a). Now there can be another view of some chartered accountant. अच्छा है 154 का भी काम आएगा और अपील का भी काम आएगा. But no, we do have to take care as far as possible. It should not be our attitude that we'll get another appeal or another process for which we'll get the fees. Whether order of demand issued under VAT say 10 crore during the previous year, but rectified at later date beyond the date previous year, as nil should be reported. You can put the, I mean, Rohit, whether you just tell whether that possible
Yes.
remark is possible in that 3CD.
Yes. The remark is possible. So you should report nil and then you should give a comment in 3CB.
Comment in that. So it is possible to be reported. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Good. Whether I can issue a physical tax audit report with all disclosure instead of reporting the same in the audit report uploaded on the website. This is what is being followed by all big four and big firm, because many times many comments which are we are unable to put because of the schema and the limitation of remark or limitation of space. So people prepare one which is there, which is uploaded, and they also prepare a detailed 3CB, legally valid or not, that is a point. Because another problem is there, if you really go and try to deliver it before the assessing officer, they don't take into account. The only way is there, you probably send it by way of a post. So legal, when you send it by post office, you don't get acknowledgement also. But at least you can do one thing, if that report is ready, when the first notice of assessment comes, probably you upload as an annexure. Or another thing is there, if you still wish to be more safe, we have 5 MB individual file and 50 MB total file, which you can attach. So give the attachment. In that attachment, you print entire 3CD PDF file and give. But this is a practice where a detailed 3CD audit report with all the remark is being prepared by many, and it is probably a better practice. Is bonus paid payroll employee due reason other than statutory need to be considered for disallowance? Judgments are there, they are not disallowable at all. The what is disallowable is only payment of bonus act payment relevant to that. All other the bonus or anything which you pay, they are not statutory liability. See, one thing, let us go for 43B wants to disallow statutory liability. And why 43B had come? If you see the history, the 43B came, people used to provide statutory liability and they never wanted to pay it. And they were claiming under the accrual basis of accounting, this deduction should be allowed to me. To avoid that situation, they have really come with 43B, and judgments are there. Bonus, which is not under the statutory requirement, is not disallowable. Of course, the moment you put the word bonus in your schedule of expenses or profit and loss account, there are chances that you will face it if not paid. But see, if you as an auditor believe in this particular interpretation, you need not show in the disallowable. And if at all you want to give remark, you better put the remark in form 3CSEB and take care of it, because it is not, judgments are very clear. Purpose of 43B is also very clear. Statutory provision made by you, not paid by you, should not be allowed. If it is not a statutory provision, and I have basically commercially, for commercial expediency, I have decided to pay bonus. And I'll tell you really the major part of the bonus, because there is a limit. If you go by statutory requirement, that some 16,000 is the prime limit of the salary, and the statutory requirement is only in relation to that. I would say that anything more than that is commercial. It is for commercial expediency and not for statutory payment. If that has not been paid, yes, then that will be disallowable, not the other one. This is my opinion. You can take your view, and you can, because this may invite appeal litigation. You should tell your client that if we take this interpretation, there are chances of appeals, there are chances of litigation. Are you ready for it? Take client permission and go for. Close 17 last column. 1 minute. What is that? Let me take my book. Clause 17 last column is about the stamp duty valuation. Value adopted or assessed or assessable. The point was that generally if the registration takes place before you complete the audit, you have got the stamp duty valuation in primarily in the index 2, which you can get. But if it is not registered, still they want, if the transfer has taken place or a sale has taken place, then they want you to take into account what would be the value which will adopt for the purpose of accounts and working out profit or capital gain. And considering that, they want you to value adopted. Now, for example, conversion of capital asset, the value adopted will be there. It will not be basically supported by index 2. All those things which do happen. But this is, I think, the you mean to this particular clause only, whoever is the queries, anonymous attendees are more. Okay. This is what stamp duty valuation which will be taken into account for working out your capital gain or income. How to file tax audit on 15th January for TP audits when 3CB filing is on 30th January. The dates have changed. Now the TP audits, the date of filing the return is 28th of February. Now I am into the provision is there that you have to file both TP report as well as
Sir, I think he's
3CB
talking
1
about
month
filing
before.
of 3CB.
So that is a tax audit.
The filing of 3CB, the due date is technically 20th of January, and the tax audit.
Yeah, that is what I am trying to say. Correct. I am saying that only, that 28th February is there as per the provision 1 month before you have to take into account, and the provision which is as per the General Clauses Act. This will expire on 28th January, because there they said the date of a month is to be taken into account for working out a month. Because I am liable to under 139(1) TP return is liable to be filed latest by 28th February minus 1 month, that is 28th January as per General Clauses Act, and not 31st January. Mind well that you have to really take into account. General Clauses Act clause 35 very clearly specifies how to work out a month when it is written in the law, and there is no specific clarification in that particular law circular. So 28th January will be the last date before which you have to file TP audit as well as tax audit. Now in that, what is the first or second is your convenience, because TP audit directly does not affect tax audit. A professional shows profit less than 50% and hence audit was done. Whether it is liable? No, that provision of 5 years is only in 44 AD and not in 44 ADA. If during filing return SSC chooses 115 BA, the filing audit report earlier date and reporting as no in 3CD would not be consonance of the ITR. See, one is during filing the return SSC chooses 115A. The filing of audit at earlier date and reporting as no in 3CD would not be. I'm still not getting this query properly. Rohit, are you getting the query?
So I think he's saying if in the tax audit report the auditor says he has not opted for 115 BAA, that is concessional rate of tax, but at the time of filing.
Correct. Now that is what we talked in the earlier part, whether you want to revise it.
Filing the ITR, the CC chooses that and not match.
Probably because your 3CD does not talk about having opted for that, can create a problem. Yes, Nishant, you can talk. I don't know. Please allow the Nishant to talk. MOS, please allow Nishant to talk because he has raised probably the query could be from him.
Yes, sir. Nishant sir, you can talk now. Nishant sir.
Okay, let us go ahead. But 115 BA, one is to file a revised form 3CD. If you it is absolutely at the option of auditor whether to revise or not. It is not compulsory because event is occurring after that particular date. He has to only, if you go by the technical requirement, he has to file form 10. So which form, Rohit? For opting for 115 BAA. I think all आवाज गए क्या?
No, I'm able to hear you.
Yeah. That form which 10 CF, what 10?
10 IC,
I'm
10 IE.
missing the number.
10 IC and
Which
10
10 IC. That is to be filed. The requirement is there. One thing which I have taken in one of the slide.
IE.
Tax audit report is not sacrosanct.
Hello.
SSC may differ with the opinion which has been given by the auditor. May differ on for reason. It could be even interpretation. It could be even this situation. Yes, I had written not adopted. But now what happens? Because once I go for that concessional rate, there were certain other clauses. The effect were to be given on losses, opening, depreciation, unabsorbed depreciation, all those things which are not part of the 3CD originally, because in 3CD you might have written not opted for. Now that will definitely make a difference that the audit report doesn't go with that. So in that case, I would say if you want to help out your SSC, whatever charges you have to ask for is your point, but you should try to help him out by revising the audit report. Because this is the event which has occurred after the date of you signing the audit report, but before he files the thing, and 3CD is primarily a supporting document for filing the return. SSC concern having turnover of 7 crore, net profit 3 crore, no case transaction, never opted for 40. Yeah, then in this 10 crore now, this will be covered and it will be exempt from audit according to me. Rohit, you can correct me if
Yes,
it's
sir.
wrong.
It will be exempt from the audit.
Exempt from up to 10 crore limit, it will be covered.
Yes.
But in 10 crore, even the loss, very technically, even the loss return I can file.
Yes.
So
yes,
long
yes.
as case transaction is within less than
Yes.
5%.
Yes.
A person is having trading business with turnover less than 1 crore and loss in, he was liable for tax audit for all earlier years. Whether tax audit is applicable for FI. See, it is the tax audit condition I have to test year on year, except in case of that particular provision where they talked about when they talked about 5 years, leave that condition is not there in this particular query. So it is to be decided year on year. And now you say you want to file voluntary a tax audit report. The issue will not be you filing voluntary will be accepted by anybody. That is not a big issue. But my big issue is then what was the due date of filing the return? If you are liable for audit, then there was a different due date. If you are not liable for audit, there could be a different due date. Now this year, all this 31st 12 and extended date, they are applicable for many situations. If you are falling in that, okay. But otherwise, when you file voluntary a tax audit report, which you are not liable statutorily, you have to worry about which is the correct date under 139(1) for you, and they can deprive you of two things: either revising the return in future, validly revising the return, or maybe the loss which you are claiming will not be liable. So this particular thing you do have to take into account. Voluntary filing form 3CD, everybody will accept. Nobody will mind for it, but nobody is going to give you concession on the due date of filing the return. If notice possible, people don't notice, but that's not the law. In case of agriculture, in the return, it is included in business income, then deducted. The exempt income included in net profit and shown in agriculture. Is tax audit applicable here? No. Tax audit income will not be included in the turnover. Our institute guidelines very clearly say agriculture income is not to be included in the turnover. Whether reporting under clause 27 is required after GST of introduction 27. I would I would replace the word value added tax by GST. As I said earlier, I'll include even GST in the place where only VAT or service tax was written. It's your decision whether, because there the word is central value added tax, GST is not there. You can take a stand, but I'll generally prefer to take a stand. Okay, this clause includes GST. Difference in depreciation W in 3CD versus ITR6 coming from last 3 years. What is to be done? Very technically, you have to revise from the beginning. Now, because the revision is not possible online, you better file the physical copy in the course of assessment or before. Now, another, there also issue is there. If you try to file just by going there, the assessing officer is not going to take. The problem is again under the faceless assessment, whether this information will really go to a person who is going to really assess. Many issues are there. Okay. Your view on disallowance of interest on account of COVID interest capitalization by bank for the interest in the COVID period. View, basically, I'll go very technically. If it is a term loan interest, it is not allowable. They have not specified anywhere. It will be deemed to have been paid. Like was there. Sir, if professor shows less than 50% in previous year and this year also less than 50%, then where the tax audit required? 50 lakh se upar hai. But 1 minute, I'll change my opinion. Is the professor coming into the profession specified under 44 ADA? To my mind, a professor, by name professor, he doesn't come in the profession. But if you say he's an academician, and that is why it should be taken in the profession, then yes, if it is less than 50 lakh, I'll not worry about. More than 50 lakh, I'll need to go for audit. What is the due date for filing 3CAA? This you are talking about MNC, correct?
Yes.
I have given in the last slide, I think it is 31st January as the latest circular, but I'm not, I'll have to correct myself. I can send, if you send the email, we'll give you the date by tomorrow morning. Is the audit is done voluntary? What is to select in clause 8? Clause 8, naturally you are auditing under 44 AB. You will write 44 AB because otherwise it will not be accepted. You have to go for it. Clause 8, 1 minute. Toby, what is that clause 8? Let me have that. Yes, 44 AB, which clause? Put one clause and give, because you are doing voluntary. It is really not under the statutory requirement. TCS collected under 206R, whether that needs to be required to be reported in 34A. Yes. What if the quantity details are not given the tax audit report? Big issue. After even in the case of company, they have removed quantity data, but the 3CD requires, if you are really not getting, put the write down in the remark, and to that extent, instead of giving an information which may not be correct, the best part is there, you appropriately qualify your report if they have not given. But the requirement is there in 3CD, and now not being supported by company balance sheet also, you have to report either the quantity data or a remark. Is doctor and turnover less than 50, but less than 50, but NW return is not filed, so then he's late now. Yes, he's late now. He could be late now, I agree. Only thing, the effect is he will not be able to file revised return, and he may have to pay that penalty, which is now 2,000 or 5,000, whatever Rohit will say. Tell that penalty you have to pay, and revision will not be possible. And probably, I believe he is not in loss, because generally won't be. So that's good. Otherwise, loss also, you may not get carry forward of it. I think I have tried to answer a couple of answers. I also don't know. I apologize for that, but this is limitation. I am also one of you, a little more preparation while presenting this. So please excuse me for some answers which I have not given. Some answers are there where it is my opinion. It could be your opinion could be different, and you can go by that. This is what I do. I have conveyed to you. So I thank you. What is the last one? Again, something has come. In case again, the return it is including 10 days. This year I have already answered yes. Okay. Tax audit will be on the other than the turnover, other than the agriculture turnover, if that limit exceeds. Yes, because you are putting in return, there can be a penalty notice of not filing the audit report. Not only that, there are now CPC saying that it is an invalid return. You will have to legally fight. So better you put the thing in the proper way from the beginning. But if you legally, that is not to be included in turnover as per our institute guideline. Thank you all. From my side, all these questions I tried to answer. Back to MOS.
Yes, sir. So I now want to present a vote of thanks. Thank you, sir, for guiding us about the important considerations, intricacies, important case laws, practical aspects, and numerous issues that we all face in tax audits, and also for patiently answering each and every question. So it is quite interesting and insightful session, and a lot of the participants were asking for the presentation as well. And thank you once again, and we definitely look forward to more such sessions from you, sir.
Sure. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. My thanks to the branch people giving a chance, and the audience who has patiently heard me, taken time to really listen to me. They are all my friends. Most of them must be meeting me here and there. Maybe some people are new for me. Thank you all. Thank you, madam. That's
Yes,
all.
thank
Let
you.
Rohit take over or whatever. I give back to you.
Yes, thank
I'll
you.
not leave, but I'll mute myself, even audio and video both.
Okay, sir. Fine. Thank you. Yes, sir. And our next speaker is CA Rohit Tapadiya. He is also he is a senior manager, direct tax advisory service at Sharad, Shah and Company, and he's been working for 10 long years with Sharad, Shah and Company, and he has varied experience in direct tax advisory service, international tax related matters, and specialized knowledge in litigation relating to reopening of cases, etc. So without further ado, since we are already short of time, I'll hand over to Rohit sir. Rohit sir, can you please start the next session?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Sharad Shah, sir has nicely explained the critical aspects of 3CD. So now let's start with the filing or prerequisites to file the tax audit report without wasting time. So now everyone is aware that Income Tax Department has shifted to new IT portal. At present, there are some glitches. So Infosys is also obviously working to solve those glitches. So today we are not discussing about those glitches, but we'll be discussing about what care to be taken so that the glitches can be avoided, and we can experience the glitch-free and smooth filing of 3CA 3CB. So, okay, even if after trying everything, what happens if you are unable to file the form? So just do one thing, take the screenshot of that error, send the email to this, below two email IDs are there. One is orm@cpc.incometax and another is e-filing web manager. So give your PAN number, give your mobile number and the error screenshot, and the team of Infosys or team of Income Tax Department will definitely give you call back in 1.5 days or 2 days. This is of course my experience so far. They're trying to help you out. So even if you're not able to find out, do first thing, take a screenshot, immediately file a grievance, or immediately just send the emails. So my presentation is just divided between all these parts. One is what is the prerequisites, then registering the digital signature at the IT portal, assigning the CA by client, then the assigning of forms to the CA and the acceptance of assigned forms by the chartered accountant, then filing and uploading the form, then acceptance of filed form, and the last, which is downloading and screenshot of the form. Yes, you have to take the screenshot once the form is uploaded, rather at each and every stage. So wherever the form is uploaded, say let us say you have uploaded the form and client's acceptance is pending, better you take the screenshot, because one of the major glitch faced by assessee is that when you're uploading the form or when you're just accepting the form is not visible at the income tax website. So it is a glitch. Yeah, it do gets visible after 1.5 days. But just imagine on 31st of January you have filed, or on 15th of January you have filed the form and you are not able to view the form at the IT website, then you will be in trouble. So better you take the screenshot and save it. At each and every stage you take the screenshot. Don't forget that. So from this year, rather in the new portal, the process to file the form had changed quite in large manner. So earlier it was simple. Now also it is simple, but yeah, on the IT portal we are unable to find that. So in order to ensure smooth finding of all the form, please ensure now the following. So it is better you keep all the data ready in Word format or Excel format, because as you are going to file the form through government utility, it is better you keep all the data ready in Excel file or in Word file or whatever it is. Then another is relevant AIS data. You also verify relevant AIS data before you file the form number 3CD. So why AIS data you should reconcile? Because for example, interest on IT refund, which is adjusted against any demand, might not get reflected in the profit and loss account of the client, but it will get reflected in AIS data. So you have to report that. So then next is PC must have the latest Java version installed. So the Java utility now is no more available. Whatever the earlier website was having that Java utility, which you can't use now. So you have to get Java version, latest version installed. Ensure that you have valid digital signature of your clients and yours. Make sure it is not expired. Just check the digital signatures are not expired. Otherwise, it will be a end moment trouble for you. The said DSC should be registered at the income tax portal. Yeah, how to register that DSC, we will be discussing in the next slides. So PC must have Embridge software installed. The link to install Embridge software is there at IT portal. Okay, so what is Embridge? What it is, we'll discuss in next slide. But please make sure that Embridge must remain on. For example, I'll just share my on the corner of my screen. You will find this Embridge 5.8.70. So it must remain on every time in order to upload the forms. So what is Embridge? It is basically a new digital signature management utility. The link to download the same is available at income tax website. If you want to register the DSC, you will not be able to register, or you will not be able to sign any form unless the Embridge or that utility is installed. So for example, you want to register the DSC, it asks you this first, tick the box. I have downloaded and installed EM Signer utility. If you have not downloaded and installed, click here to download the EM Signer utility. So it is must requirement to file the forms to register the digital signature. So after installation, the following icon will appear on your desktop. Just click on that and you're good to go. Please ensure I think in last 10 days, the EM Bridge software has got updated twice. So please ensure the EM Bridge software you upgrade frequently. It is there in the software itself. So before filing, please ensure that you delete all your browser history, cookies, cache, etc. Now in good laptops, this problem generally doesn't arise, but in the old desktop, this problem we have faced. And if your RAM is insufficient, then at the time of uploading the form, it gives error of cache full, or rather unable to upload the form because of the cache, something like that. So better you have enough RAM space in the in your PC. Please ensure that there are various there are various DSC tokens available in the market. So few of them are like crypto ID, one is WD proxy key, etc. So whichever DSC token you are using, please ensure the driver of the said DSCs are already installed. If not installed, please make sure you install the drivers. Otherwise, even if you have that Embridge software and you have everything, the DSC won't get detected at later place, and you won't be able to file without you won't be able to file the form with DSC. Also, please ensure that you are logged on to the said device, or you are logged on to the said DSC. How to log on, we'll discuss in next slide. One more important aspect is that please change the password of DSC if it is not changed since inception. In 90% cases, this happens. We don't change the DSC password. It is standard and it is written over the DSC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you have not changed the password of DSC since inspection, the utility itself will give you the pop-up that you have not changed the password, so you won't be allowed to sign the form. So better you change the DSC password at the inception only. You can do one more thing if you don't want to. So you change it to 1, 2, 3, 4. Suppose your password is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You change this to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then again you change to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So then it will not give you any error. So if DSC is not available with you, then what are the options? Yes, earlier in case of a private limited companies, or in case of firms where the DSC is already registered, these two options were not enabled. But now in the new portal, these two options are enabled. That is Aadhaar OTP and bank account validation. So even though you have digital signature certificates, you can still choose one of the option, Aadhaar OTP and bank account validation. So for Aadhaar OTP, make sure in case of a private limited company or in case of firm, the Aadhaar number of the director who is authorized, or the partner or the member who is authorized signatory, should be linked with PAN, and that he is able to receive the OTP. So even in case of company, you can e-verify the return and through mobile number and Aadhaar. Then another one is bank account validation at the income tax website. So you can, yes, generate the EVC through bank account number, and you can validate the form number 3CA, 3CD through that. But in order to do that, your bank account should be added, and you can see this screenshot, validated and EVC enabled. If it only gives validated, then you won't be able to generate the EVC. It should be compulsorily validated and EVC generated. For non-resident clients, OTP is a big issue. So better you have the DSC for them. Otherwise, their timing is not matching. They're not getting the OTP because they don't have the Indian number. So that is an issue. Yeah, of course, in their case, the bank account is linked with the mobile number and they are getting the EVCs. So you can choose that option for them. Before you file 3CA, 3CB, or before you assign the forms to a chartered accountant, better you have updated the following: mobile number, email ID, complete address, status, whether it is a resident, non-resident, whether it is a domestic company, whether it is a foreign company, whether it is a citizen of India or not. Please do update that, and whatever is the address on the profile, that address you should mention in the form number 3CD. 3CA, 3CB, whatever it is. Please do this activity before you start your filing. So then now come to part login to DSC. So like I have taken one example of crypto certificate ID. So when you install the drivers, this crypto ID certificate logo will appear on your desktop. Just click on that. Here the user is appearing. So once you put the pin here, the user will change its name to the DSC. For example, it is Rohit Tapadiya, then Rohit Tapadiya name will appear. This is important because when you are filing the tax audit report, At that time, the digital signature won't work if this is not logged on. So you have to log on here, then only the DSC will work. So how to register the DSC at income tax portal? Just go to log on to the IT website, to your profile, go to my profile, and on the left hand side you will find this tab, register DSC. Just register the DSC here and you're good to go. So you can see Aadhaar number is also linked, the mobile number, PAN number is updated. If you want to give your passport number also, you can give, but better to have an updated profile on the IT portal. Now, in case of AOP, BOI companies or firms, you cannot register the DSC from their login. You have to register the DSC from the login of the director, partner, member. Yeah, this is a big change. Everyone, please note this. You have to register the DSC in the individual account of the director or the member or the partner. If you log on to the company's account, you won't get the tab of register the DSC. So this is an example of a private limited company. So on the left hand side in my profile, you will not find any tab of registered DSC. So whosoever is the director of this company, in his director's login, you have to register the DSC. So please ensure that, because at many places, the private limited company's director returns are not filed by the person who is the auditor of this. So it will be an end moment headache for you. Please ensure the DSC is registered. Sometimes we try to upload the tax audit report at 11:30 p.m. and at 11:30 p.m. if you find that the DSC is not registered, then you know what could be the consequence of it. So please ensure before only you register the tax audit, you register the digital signature certificate in the profile of director. It is also advisable, it is not mandatory, there is no error as such as of now, but it is also advisable to add all the key person details at income tax website and the shareholders information, authorized signatory for income tax return forms, etc. So now we all are good to go for after all these precautionary measures. Now let's just quickly review how to file form number 3CB or 3CA, whatever it is. So the first step is add CA, then it is assign form to CA, and then acceptance of assigned form by CA. So please note, on the IT website, first you have to log into the client's account, log into the client's account. Then after log into the client's account, go to Chartered Accountant tab, add CA, click on add CA. Then you add the CA. Of course, the membership number you have to enter, and then the CA will be added. After that, it will appear in CA list. Then go to that CA list, search for 3CA, 3CB file form, and click on File Now. So once you click on the File Now tab, you will find this, whether original form, what is the assessment year, who is the chartered accountant. And surprisingly, at this stage only, you can upload some documents like profit and loss account, balance sheet, but it is not mandatory and it is not advisable also to upload here, because I tried doing this and at the time of assigning only it gave me error, and then when I removed the attachment, then it was successfully added. So don't upload anything, it is not mandatory at all. Just click on continue and your CA will be assigned. So now after the CA is added or rather assigned, go to Chartered Accountants login, that is ARCA login. So ARCA 154741. Log on to the Chartered Accountants login. Then go to work list. After going to work list, you will find this tab. So just accept the form first. Whatever the form is assigned to you, 3CB, 3CD, just accept that. If you want to reject, you can reject, but you have to give in detailed reasoning. And there are a number of characters prescribed. That number of words you have to write down there. So the job is not yet over. So after the form is accepted, you again have to go to work list, and then you have to go to pending action list. And in the pending action list, you will find this form. So now, if you are unable to see the form in this pending action or then work list, there is one more tab of see all or view all. Just click on that, and in that search for your particular client's PAN number, you will be able to see that form. Even after doing this, if you are unable to see, just wait for 2 hours. After 2 hours, then try to file the forms. So I'll advise, please don't keep anything pending for 15th of January. Better you try to close everything by 14th only. I understand this is practically not possible, but this is an advice. Because if you on 15th of January, if you are not able to see the form in the work list, then you have to wait for 2 hours, which is practically difficult. So after that, just click on continue. Submission mode, as of now, it is only offline. There is no online mode prescribed. So then you have to, you'll get this tab. Which tab? So there, see, the only two things. One is download the offline utility and prefiled JSON. So here it gives you the option to upload the prefilled JSON file or JSON utility. So suppose you are using some software, you have already prepared a utility that you have already prepared a JSON file. That JSON file you can just add here and upload that JSON file. Now, along with the JSON file, you have to attach all the documents like balance sheet, profit and loss account, whatever other documents. Like we mentioned, you have a manual form number 3CA, 3CB signed, and that manual form also you can attach. So the per file size limit is 5 MB. Maximum you can upload is 50 MB. So after that, you have to tick on UDIN. So please don't put UDIN as of now, even if it is allowing. When you click on proceed further and you will try to upload the form, it won't allow you to upload. It will give error submission failed. So as of now, the site is not allowing to update the UDINs. So better, I don't have UDIN, I'll update UDIN later. You tick on that and then just click on proceed and your form will be filed. So at the time of filing, after the form is filed, you have to log on to the client's account. Then after login to the client's account, go to work list. After going to work list, just accept the form. And the form will be finally uploaded. Please ensure once you click on accept, there will be one tab which will say that, yeah, the form is successfully accepted. So please immediately turns. We don't know whether you will be able to download the form or not. So better you take a screenshot and put in your client's record. So now we have seen we have to update, we have to upload the JSON utility here. So on this, so JSON file here. So how to create that JSON file? We are going to discuss that now. There are two ways. One is by government utilities and one is by softwares, various softwares like Winman, Taxbase, Railon, all the softwares are there in the market. So in my opinion, better to use some good software instead of some online utility. Yeah, I'm not canvassing for it, but yes, it is better. But yeah, many of us are utilizing the government utility. And then, so what precautions to be taken care while filing the utility? Of course, if you are using the software, then software itself gives you the warnings and all what precautions you have to take care. So we'll discuss just briefly about what is utility and from where to download that utility. So just this is the income tax form. So when you go to income tax department's website, on the download section, you will find this utility, form utility. Just click on that. You can download this utility. And after downloading, you just have to extract it and you just have to install it. So after you install it on your desktop, one icon will appear, income tax department utility form. Double click on that and this window will open. So click on continue. After that, just select your appropriate file, form number 3CA, 3CB or 3CA, 3CB. Then this option will appear. One is download prefilled form, import prefilled data, import JSON and continue without prefill. So as of now, only import JSON and continue without prefill options are working. I tried doing import prefilled data even today morning, but it was unsuccessful. It gave me error of this service under server not reachable, please try later. So I am unable to import the prefilled data from the IT website. Download prefilled form also I was not sure, I was not able to do that. So one is import JSON and another is continue without prefill. So yeah, I tried doing one thing. I have a Winman software, so I created one JSON file in Winman, and I tried importing that. Yeah, it was easily got imported into this government software. Rather, it was successfully verified. Also, there were no errors at all. So you can do one cross check also by that. Then let us assume you don't have the software also, and you are selecting on continue without prefill. So once you select that, you have to then on further page, it will appear that it will ask you PAN number of the assessee, AY, then 3CA, 3CB. Then you have to just put that and click on continue. Then this tab will appear. One is form number 3CB and one is form number 3CD. Now the problem here is, unless you fill form number 3CB, you won't be allowed to fill form number 3CD. It is quite surprising. So you have to compulsorily fill 3CB, then only you will be able to move on to 3CD. So just give all the qualifications, just fill basic data relating to 3CB form, and then you'll be allowed to file form number 3CD. So when you are filing form number 3CD, here again, it is just giving you the simple. I'll just show the one sample form on my screen. So here again, it is not allowing unless you put clause number 1, clause number 2. So if you want to report form number 3CD, just a second. I think I won't be able to show that. I'm sorry that. Okay, let me just explain you there. So if you are filling form number 3CD, there are clauses 1 to 8, then 9 to 18, then 19 to 30, 30 to 34, and 34 to so on. So unless you enter the data in clause number 1 to 8, you won't be allowed to enter the data into clause number 9. So again, similarly, you have to select the next tab, and then in next tab, you won't be allowed to enter the data. So it is a bit complicated procedure, I understand, but of course. So now while filling the utility, what care? Please don't use special characters at any place. Special character like underscore and exclamatory mark, then all hashtag, percentage, or star mark, etc. So please don't use anywhere. Otherwise, it won't allow you to upload the form. Sometimes the forms do get validated, but at the time of uploading the form, it gives error. Then one more thing, this I personally observed, put pin code same as appearing at income tax website. So as I said earlier, you have to upload the profile, my profile at the income tax website. So whatever is that pin code and everything, please do give same pin code and everything in the form number 3C A, 3CB. Please avoid giving space at the end of any sentence. For example, given some observations or comments in at the end of it, please don't put any space by mistake. It gives validation error. So in this regard, it is very technical mistake. So I had sent an email also on the ORM website that this is very technical mistake. Sometimes we even won't be able to find out that where the space is given. So I have raised a grievance and waiting for the resolution of it. It is advisable, generally it is advisable to have the Excel templates downloaded and you import the Excel forms instead of putting it manually. So better you download those templates given and you import those templates in the utility. So in the statement of 3CD, in the attachment, the maximum size is 5 MB and overall it should not exceed 50 MB. It is as of now. And I think it is sufficient. Then there is one more interesting fact. In the attachment name, the name also should not contain any special character. Rather, in one of my case, I had used balance sheet, that is balance space sheet. So I don't know, it doesn't accept it. So I just simply had to do BS, PL and audit report without any space, and it got accepted. So please make sure you in the attachment name also you don't give space and you don't use special characters. Sometimes we do upload the zip file. Then in the zip file, whatever are the files, those name also should not contain any special characters. And please make sure you are not uploading the RAR file, you are uploading the zip file. Generally, we have both the softwares, RAR and zip. So whenever you are doing compressing the files and you are trying to upload it, click on the right click and send to zip folder only. Please ensure. So otherwise it won't get uploaded. There is a requirement of uploading zip file only. It is better whatever observations you want to give, instead of giving it in the main 3CD, you write it in the Word file, you sign it and you upload along with the 3CD as an annexures. Because many times we write our observations and in that observations erroneously we do mention the special characters, etc., etc. Then if you go for validating that, it will be a big headache and it will be a time consuming job. So better you avoid that and do needful. So there is one more interesting fact that this is another issue practically. So if you are filing a 3CD and you want to give the details of losses brought forward in particular clause number. So whether you should report the loss as per intimation, yes, you should report the loss as per intimation received by the assessor. But sometimes because of this IT website glitch, many of our clients have received, they have not allowed the carry forward of loss. It is but obvious mistake. It is portal's mistake. The loss, for no reason, the loss was not allowed to be carry forward. So in that situation, what do you do? So my advice, you should go by the intimation, but simultaneously you can say that the assessee has filed the rectification. You should give a qualification, or you should put this in observation mark, and then you should report the loss as per the assessee and not as per the intimation. This is what the particular situation which I have faced recently. So yeah, so that you can see this clause wise details. So as I said earlier, this 1 to 8, unless you fill 1 to 8, you won't be able to go to clause 9 to 17. Unless you fill 9 to 17, you won't be able to go further. So this is like that. So you have to fill one by one, the data in this. So there is one more thing now. So till earlier, many of were suppose there is an individual, say Rohit Tapadiya is an individual whose accounts you are auditing. So in that, you are only auditing his business account and not his personal account. For example, he has traded in future and options. So you are doing audit of only future and option business and not of his personal account. So earlier in form number 3CB, we used to write at the end of his name into bracket future option and trading shares business. So for example, we have examined the balance sheet as of 31st March 19 and the profit and loss account for the period beginning from 1st April 18 to 19. Attached herewith of Mrs. Rohit Tapadiya into bracket future and option and share trading business. But now in this new 3CD, it is linking you with the profile name or with the PAN database name. So I tried doing this, and then at the time of uploading, me error that your name in 3CD is not matching. So now you be able to put here specifically. So better you write down your appropriate observation in your observation mark and put it into the either as an attachment or put it into the observation section that you have audited only his future and option trading business and nothing else. So there is one more issue, presentation in form number 3CD for clause number 34 relating to TDS disclosure. So in this, please match. I'll just quickly open the Excel file on my So please match the amounts reported here in the with the profit and loss account. For example, this is the clause number 34. One is tax deduction and collection account number, another is section, another is nature of payment, interest, for example, I have taken. So total amount payment or receipt of the nature specified in column number 3 out of 4. So this amount particularly should be matched with the profit and loss account. This issue I recently faced in one of the assessment, that the assessing officer took the observation that the auditor has reported in this column only 1 lakh of rupees, but where your profit and loss account says the expenditure is 2 lakh. So why the expenditure of 1 lakh should not be disallowed? So please ensure you report here 1 lakh rupees. Now, yeah, of course, the TDS is also deducted on a payment or advance, which was earlier. That advance be coming to the profit and loss account. So there, better you add one more separate line item and you mention that line item separately regarding the advance. But ensure that this 1 lakh rupees is matching with the profit and loss account. Then you say that out of this 1 lakh rupees, TDS is required to be deducted only on 80,000. So this was the practical aspect which I recently faced in one of the assessment. And then where I have to, in the assessment, then I have to submit a revised tax audit. This relevant clause duly certified by the chartered accountant. So just take care of that. So then one more aspect is that 14A disallowance. As Mr. Sharad Shah sir has said in the earlier presentation, you may or may not deferred, you may or may not agree with the contention of the client that 14A is not required to be done or something. So in clause number 21H, what you should report, because in clause number 21H, you can only report a number. You cannot write anything. So it is better you report some amount there, or you report 0 and whatever is your appropriate comment, you give it in your observation section. So I've just listed one of the one or two sample comments in the my PPT. So another interesting issue, filing a form number 3CB or 3CA through legal air. So unfortunately, in the last, because of the COVID, many of the few clients might have expired. So, but a technical requirement is that you have to file 3CB, 3CA in his name only. So the IT department is not allowing you to register the legal air request. So for that, I raised a complaint. I raised the grievance on ORM email ID. Then I got a call back from them, and I was surprised to see their requirement that although the law says these are the requirements, even we can we can even file an indemnity bond of the legal heir, saying that he is the only legal heir, and you allow me to register on the IT website. But merely based on the indemnity bond, they are not allowing you to register. They are not accepting your request. They need either, rather my experience is they need only either of the two documents. They say you get a nominee certificate from the bank's letterhead, or you get the legal heir certificate or succession certificate from the court. In one of my clients' case, I had even uploaded the will, but he says no, the will we cannot accept. Our legal team is not allowing to accept the will. So he was surprised. He was insisting only on bank certificate or succession certificate. So surprising, or you have to get the nominee certificate or the legal heir certificate. The succession certificate is getting a lot of time because it is a court procedure. So better you get a bank's nominee certificate and you upload it. But if you upload proper documents, your request will get accepted in 3 to 4 days. They will accept your request. Once your request is accepted, you will be able to log into the IT website. So as we discussed that pursuant to a merger or pursuant to a requirement of law, you want to file revised form for AY 1819 or 1920. But the revised filing form seems not possible at IT website as of now, because whenever I try to assign the form and I tick on revised, it says you can't select this filing type is an error. So you have to select their original, and then only you will be able to assign the form. So whether you can click on that original and then you can again file the original form, which is, to my mind, is not correct. But if you want physical, if you want the technical compliance to be there on the IT website, then better you pick on original. And in the original form, you give a comment that this is the revised form number in pursuant to merger order or pursuant to this blah 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 requirement, and then you file the form number, form accordingly. So this is what I can tell. So if you have questions, we can discuss that. In spite of all that, you are still facing the error, you can email the JSON file to me and I can definitely help you out for that. Thank you.
I don't see any questions, sir. I think you have explained it very thoroughly.
The questions will come definitely when they are filing the tax audit report.
Yeah. Okay, in case there are no questions, do we have any questions? If the participants want, they can raise hand and ask their questions. No. Yes, it was indeed a nice presentation. Most of the comments say that. Yes, Kirti ma'am, you can ask your question.
Someone is asking the question.
Yes, Kirti ma'am, can we unmute you? Do you want to ask the question? Or can you post it in the tab? I think she's posted it in the tab. Okay. Rohit sir, I'll just read out the question. What if we can't arrange nominee certificate also? Sometimes bank account was not joined and bank refused to give that certificate.
Correct.
Then I applied through family pension certificate, but that was not happening. Then I filed though the SSC was nominee.
Correct. So this is exactly a practical situation which I faced. Similar situation. So there also you have to get the nominee, otherwise you won't be able to upload tax audit report. So there, rather I can say not a correct answer, but the practical approach could be you file the 3CA, 3CB from the login of deceased. Then once you get the succession certificate, you revise the form. This is what you can do. Otherwise, the department will not accept the request. They are just only accepting the nominee certificate or the succession certificate. And yeah, one more thing I missed is the nominee certificate, the succession certificate should be in either Hindi or in English. So if it is in Marathi, by any chance, if there is a registered will which is in Marathi, then you have to translate it and then you have to upload a translated copy. Yeah, the registered will they are accepting. But if it is just the will is just on a piece of paper, they are not accepting.
Okay, I think that clearly answers the question, and I don't see any more questions. So I think we'll proceed with the vote of thanks. So on behalf of Pune ICAI team and all the participants, I now present a vote of thanks to Rohit sir for giving us deep insights into the topic, revealing some interesting facts, enlightening us with minute details relating to procedure of filing tax audit report, including some points of caution, common errors, practical difficulties, and also giving us clarity on even the most common practical and specific questions that all of us face while filing tax audit report. So thank you to all the members, participants, Pune ICAI for organizing such a wonderful event.
For giving me an opportunity. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, audience.
Have a great day.
Yeah, I'll be sharing my email ID and contact number. Definitely, I'll just share my email ID. You can just connect with me.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Avanti.
Thank you, sir. Great talking to you. Sorry?
That's all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you all.
Thank you. Have a great day, sir. Great presentation. Good session.